Our goals and expectations for the coming season are heavily focused on the full body of our work, the mixture of what we do within conference, but what we also do out of conference. Ultimately, trying to earn an NCAA bid, and beyond that, we have been able to host the NCAA tournament, the first round games for the last 2 years. And this year, we would love to be able to host the opening rounds as well as the sectionals in the second weekend. And so we have both scheduled to try to make that happen, as well as have a team that, we are trying to put things together so that we can do well within the NCAA tournament. We are in a great position this year with returning some exceptional players that have had a lot of experience. First and foremost, we return our entire back four. And it's a back four that was one of the better in the nation. We did not concede many goals last year. We are anchored in the middle by Ben Wild, who was an all-region center back last year. His partner was Wyatt Fabian last year, who was also all-conference. Left and right is Ben Draheim, and then Jeremy Levine. Now, Jeremy Levine is our right back. Is one of those players that quietly has gotten less recognition than others that have been around him, but has started for me for 4 years, has just locked down the right back spot, is one of the more intelligent players I think I've ever coached, and is a great 1v1 defender, but is just an incredible passer in tight space. In wide positions, last year we took Jan Skormahorn as well as Ugo Akoli, and we played them as wingers at the very end of the year, and I thought that they just were fantastic. Both are coming off of freshman years where they were Rookie of the Year for the conference, and both are exceptional, and they will really spearhead what's happening on the flanks. Jason Tonelli returns as a junior. He was our second leading goal scorer. Plays more centrally for us, generally as an attacking midfielder. Steve Sherbon is another player that we are looking at as a direct replacement to Chase Tenbrook. Plays very much like Chase. He's a 6'4", very strong guy that strikes a great ball. And so Sherbs is somebody that we see that could step in the front line. Connor Pellis and Matt Ruggiero are rising seniors that have done great in the midfield. Paul McWhirter is going to be a junior for us that is just a really, really technical player that we expect to do well. Looking at Zach Colton to be able to start to break out for us in the back line. He is a potential starter for us in the back line as a center back potentially, or as a player that's going to get a whole lot of time as well. One of the difficulties that we've had to deal with the last couple of years is dealing with the graduation of some unbelievable players. We've had 3 All-Americans that we've had to replace within the last 3 years in Rosenfeld, Beaver, and Tenbrook. And that, along with a host of other incredible players, has been something that we've really had to deal with. In this last class, we lose Vin Perry, Devin Malfitano, Chase Tenbrook, as well as Trevor Britton. And it was a great class. It actually was the winningest class in F&M history. And, Trevor, with what he was able to do in the goal, was relatively unique. He only started for 2 years, but within that time, we've never had a goalkeeper that has had the kind of shutout record that he has had. Also within that group, Chase Tenbrook was a very, very unique target forward. And I would say of all of the players that we've lost within this last 3 to 5 year period, Chase impacts us in some ways the most because due to his size and just his work rate, we were able to play off and around and through him. And ultimately he was a first team All-American, and that is a large, large loss for us. We've brought in a great group of new players. First and foremost among them is actually a transfer. And his name's Steve Harlan. He was a top recruit for us 2 years. We ended up losing him to Villanova, and we have him back. He played with Villanova last year, and it's exciting to know that he had played at a pretty high level, trained with those players, and he is coming into this team not feeling like he's a first-year player, but feeling a bit like a veteran. Player that reminds us of some of our past great players. He has some Ben Beaver type of qualities, very fast, great finisher. We have had a very good preseason. This has been a little bit of a different one than in past years for us. I feel like our returning players have made a massive, massive jump with their level of fitness. Our fitness test is different in some ways than others. We run a beep test, which is probably common to other programs, but probably what is a little bit unique to us is that all of our guys have individualized times that they contract with me. And our returning players have just gone through the roof. The best beep test we had ever seen was by a player that was also on our track team. It was a 31, and that was 3 years ago. This year, Jan Skormahorn ran a 34, and we had 5 guys run 31s. And most of those guys would be starters for us. And so our returning veteran players have done incredibly well with fitness. I think some of our new players were probably not quite ready for the fitness standard of the returners. And so we've run into some level of a fitness gap between the top half and the bottom half, which is something that's new that I've not had to really deal with before. I believe that has also resulted in a higher level of injuries that we've had, particularly for some of our younger guys. So we have some key matchups right out of the gates. We have an incredibly hard schedule. Our very first game is against Alvernia, and that will be on the road. Alvernia has been a really, really difficult matchup for us. In the last 3 years, every game that we've had has gone to like second overtime, and then we quickly turn around to a great Lycoming team. Lycoming's coming in here, and they're currently nationally ranked ahead of us. They were in the Sweet 16 as well as us last year. So I think many nationally will be looking at that game to have pretty big impacts on what's going to be happening with the NCAA tournament later on. We also have an incredibly competitive conference with the Centennial. We have multiple teams in the Centennial right now that are nationally top 25, and so there is the battleground that is that. The current senior class for our program only knows going to the second round of the NCAA tournament.